One really important thing to remember when you're playing is you don't get to choose the stance that you hit from. The stance actually chooses you. It's based on the ball that your opponent hits at you. So if I have a ball in the corner and I'm having to run a long distance to get it, I don't usually have the opportunity to close up my stance. And so I'm gonna end up hitting this wide ball from more of an open stance, especially if it's deeper in the box. It's not going to allow me to step in and close my stance. And so for that reason, it's very important that you get comfortable hitting out of different stances. So again, I get that deep ball coming in, I'm forced to play it out of an open stance. Open meaning I'm pushing up from my outside leg. And so in this scenario, notice that I am facing the side fence. My hips and shoulders are turned. I'm pushing up from this leg, allowing myself to get some rotation. So just because the stance is open doesn't mean my hips and shoulders are open. I'll see players make a mistake on the open stance and they'll actually hit the ball with everything facing the net. So my hips and shoulders are not turned. I'm not able to get a lot of power on that shot. So tough situation, don't have the ability to step into the court. I'm hitting that out of an open stance. Another example of when you're forced to use an open stance is if that ball's landing deep in the court and you need to create space for yourself. So if I go backwards to create space for the ball, this is actually an example of an open stance as well, because I'm pushing up from this leg to hit the shot. So I'm backing up to make that shot more comfortable. So here's another time when I'm actually hitting from an open stance. Because that ball's landing deep in the box, it's gonna be difficult if I try to step forward and play that out of a closed stance. So again, I choose the stance based on what my opponent hits at me. So she hits it a little bit short, I'm able to step in and close my stance, that's good. But if my opponent hits deeper in the corner, for example, or deeper in the court, I might be forced into more of an open stance. Again, just remember on the open stance, I close my hips and shoulders still. So I'm not hitting from a position like this, but I'm turning my hips and shoulders. Here's a left-handed backhand, same thing. Pushing up from the outside leg. So again, I go back, I'm still out of that open stance because I'm pushing up from this outside leg. The mistake that I see people make is, watch this one, is they go backwards and then they try to come forward because they're more comfortable with that closed stance where they're shifting their weight forward, and that puts them off balance. So you just want to make sure that if you go back, you commit to pushing up from that back leg rather than going back and then trying to shift your weight forward. I shift forward, I'm off balance. That ball often goes down versus pushing up from the back leg. So again, the stance chooses you. It's good to get yourself comfortable with hitting from a lot of different positions, not just hitting, stepping forward every time.